We're so burned out.
Life doesn't accept that you're fried or burned out.
I don't understand how anybody manages this, but if we take a step back, this is a very short period of time.
I told Clark this morning, I was like, how excited are you? There's only 4.5 days of school. And then I realized I'm not excited. Which is like the first, because like you spend your whole life looking forward to summer because summer is better.
Right.
And then one day you realize you're old and you're not looking forward to it being hot. And then you're not looking forward to your kids being out of school. Obviously you are, but it's this, then all of a sudden it's like the lack of structure and you have to develop a new structure very quickly that is at best temporary.
Right, because constantly things are changing week by week over the summer.
It's only for a couple months, and then, you've got trips and you've got stuff, and then...
Right. His countdown to being out of school is like our countdown to like when we have to be all hands on deck for like a couple months straight.
Although I was in the pool yesterday, and it just hit me, because it was like hot, but not too hot, and there's nothing going on. And I was just like, oh, this was like the sweet spot of the pandemic where like we'd been in a couple months. So like
we're not freaking out.
We were used to it. We were just settled in. School stuff had been settled because it was like and like just the endless days of just like doing this and not going anywhere, but not feeling pressured to go anywhere. Just how like chill stuff was. And that's the vibe I would like for the summer with less screens.
How are we going to do that? We were pretty good about screen time during the pandemic because we had...
At some point the wheels came off.
On and off. It was a cycle. Things would go well, the wheels would come off, come back. I think it's just hard because things are rapidly changing. It's like we've got 1 week where we're doing this, the next week we're doing that. We do these family meetings, which we've talked about every night. And now our kids are like insisting that sometimes they get to lead the family meetings. And then Clark's is like on Friday nights, he's like, we got nothing to do and nowhere to be. And like now he like repeats that a lot to us if we're like kind of unnecessarily getting stressed out just because we're like annoyed by things taking a long time. Like, nothing to do, nowhere to be.
Which is, I think, a good like mantra for summer. But that's also the hard part of summer, which is that like you have to fill up the space and time.
I don't understand how we're going to do it, and I'm not quite sure how anybody else does. I mean, we're barely, like, staying on top of it, both working, you traveling, with, like, one of our kids being in school full-time and the other one part-time. Like, I'm not quite sure how this is going to go.
Well, this is a little gross, but you remember also during the pandemic where the toilet paper situation was the result of everyone being at home?
Yeah, everyone needed more toilet paper.
Like the logistics hadn't been sorted out. Like, you've been used to one rhythm and then it changes. It's like, I think also our house is suffering from this because, like, if you spend more, like now with Jones out of school, you spend more time at home. The house is messier. And so the rhythms of, like, you're using it more.
Yeah.
So you're putting more stress and strain on everything.
We have, like, an insane amount of laundry, and we're pretty good about re-wearing clothes or, like, not being bad about it, whatever. But I was just thinking about it on Saturday. It was, like, 10:30, and all of us had changed our clothes at least 3 times because it was waking up with the kids. They immediately put clothes on. They went outside and they got super dirty. They came inside and they changed. They went back. They went swimming. They came back in and they changed again. And I'm like, okay, guys, we've gone through, like, 4 or 5 sets of clothes and it's 10 in the morning and like a lot, it's like covered in mud. Like it's not like we can.
And that's part of the summer, like your rhythm changes. Suddenly the absence of structure forces you to come up with like I think that's the answer to the things. We're gonna have to figure out a summer rhythm and be intentional about it, because if you're just like sort of winging it every day, even though you don't have anywhere to go and nothing to do, if you don't create some structure, then that's where you default to screens or you default to running errands all day.
I think a lot of times in the past people could depend on their families. We're so burned out. I think that's why we were sitting here. We're like, we have to talk about parenting. We are so burned out. And part of it is this end of year transition from spring break. We have spring break. And then like almost every single week there is like a day where we are completely offline because we are doing something kid related. And our kids don't go to the same school. So it's just like back and forth, like from spring break. We have not had like, even if we worked 9 to 5 jobs, we would not have one day where we could fully be in the office.
Well, a slight complaint too. So we had spring break, which was 2 weeks for one of our kids' school, too long. Then before spring break, they had 2 parent days where we had to go to the school. And then there's only like a month and a half of school
And
after
there's
spring
2
break,
more.
and then 2 more of those days.
Right.
So I think we kept waiting for like things to go back to normal.
They just
and
didn't.
They never went back to normal.
Right.
And now they're about to get super unnormal.
I think the difficult thing is like if we had more traditional jobs, this is a difficult thing to manage all of the time. Like for everyone, this is always a difficult thing, I think, for kids to manage. And like we are in an interesting spot because like we can't consistently week over week do the same thing because of summer travel. You have a book coming out. This is like I have to be all hands on deck with the kids and the house and the childcare because this is like how it just goes.
Yeah.
But normally we have like a balancing act. So like going into that, a book launch, there would be some like time
Like
where
on
I get
vacation first,
or
or-
like I get caught up on work. We spend a lot of intentional time with the kids, and like also we before you start writing a book, we do that, and we didn't get to do it. So now we're going back into me being totally like all hands on deck with household and kids when you are in the middle of writing a book and have a book coming out. So like there's no, I don't know when I'm supposed to do anything.
I would say I have zero expectations of you doing anything.
That's a lie.
The only expectations are, like the IRS and insurance.
Yeah.
You know what? Like
Yeah,
I
yeah.
feel like. Do you know what I
Right.
mean? Like I feel like we're both just like it's insane, and we've accepted it.
But like it can't.
But life doesn't accept
Right.
that you're fried or burned out.
I can't just not work. I can't just be like,
You can't
okay,
just
right
be like, I'll
now,
get
like
to
I'm
this when
staying
I get
home.
to
I'm
it.
fully full-time parenting. As we talked about this, our house is suffering for it. Like, oh my God, our house is a disaster.
It's insane. Well, they just decided they were going to play with every single toy that they own.
What happened is we were tired and we're burned out. It's Saturday. We're like, we have to chill. And they're like entertaining each other away
Yeah.
from us. And we're like, this is a problem for another day. Let them do what they're doing. And I'll make it their problem today.
Yeah.
They can clean it up.
You don't want to send them to summer camps, though, do you? You feel like that's an interesting one because
No.
like that would solve some of the problems, but you feel like you're not comfortable with it.
One, our oldest one is going to summer school.
Yeah.
But temporarily.
Yeah.
That's a whole other thing.
Yeah.
And then our other kid, has really bad separation anxiety. And if week over week we can consistently get into a pattern where he was going to the same thing, and we can't do that. So it's just going to be
But you could
a
do
mess.
2 weeks of it.
When?
The next 2 weeks. Like you can start on Monday, isn't it? Every day in June. But see, I'm just curious what you're like. I think that's a life problem, but it's also a parenting problem, which is like so you get overwhelmed, not you, but like it's like crazy, and then you get in this place where you're like, okay, the solution to it is hard or imperfect. So then you're like, well, that's hard, and it's just like a cycle where you don't make positive steps towards alleviating the stress, and then it just piles on itself.
Have you considered like taking some time off from writing books?
I did. I took a year off. Do you not recall this?
I mean, you took a year off when you wrote a different book and published a different book.
And I put in a parent. I put out a parent.
Yeah.
And researched another book. But I did take a year.
Okay. If we had both of the kids home consistently, we could get into a rhythm. The problem is that we cannot have that consistency this summer. It's impossible.
Right, but not doing a camp or whatever is its own form of inconsistency that is going to have its own problems.
Yes. But like logistically, I don't know how it's going to work. I have
That's a
2
different
kids
point.
that I have to get into 2 different cities at 2 different times, and then you're gone half of the time. So like how would that work?
I'm not gone half the time.
You're gone at least 2 days a week for the rest of all of June.
I'm gone I'm gone not even.
So
24
maybe
hours.
our solution here is to have these conversations not here. It's to get a giant calendar so you're aware of what this
I
looks
had
like.
Megan print one upstairs. But no, I think that's kind of what happens. Because I totally relate. You're like, oh, you're gone. You like round up, and then you're like, where does the time go? And then you're like, it's not worth doing anything.
Right.
And then you don't do anything.
I
It's a disaster.
I don't understand how anybody manages this. And I think we're all in the same place. Like keep seeing people complaining or talking to people about complaining. Not complaining, but like the end of the school year at school with kids is like constant parent participation.
Yes.
And like even like parent meetings in the middle of the day, and like I don't understand what the expectation there is. Like I'm not saying like school shouldn't be childcare, but school is childcare. So like, how are we supposed to balance like that weird transition where every single day can't look the same for the kids or us going into summer? And I think it's a pretty universal problem.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know.
You tell me.
No, I think it's right. It's both made easier and harder by not having traditional jobs or
I know.
lives.
I think it's like one of those situations where if you're in it hard. And like we obviously are. We're like very burned out, whatever. If you take a step back, not even just trying to be positive about taking a step back and seeing what the things that we have going on this summer, but if we take a step back, it's like this is a very short period of time. You tend to compound like the future onto the present when it feels very overwhelming. So rather than just being like, oh, cool, we've got like 2 weeks, both the kids home, we can figure this out. Here are the fun activities we planned. It's like, great, we're going to go straight into this like crazy commute. We're going to do these, we have to make these big decisions. You have a book coming out and it becomes like extremely overwhelming. So if you just take a step back, we're like 1 week ahead at a time. Have an idea of what the whole picture is so we can make big plans, but then just like now that we're totally in it, we need to slow it down.
Well, in a way, go back to the kid thing, which is just being excited that it's summer and that it's something new.
Nothing to do, nowhere to go.